Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 88, where we're talking about point blank V's for victory. Uh, Looks like I'm going to be by myself tonight. McMurray's got to work. I think Todd is doing family stuff because he's got a work engagement this weekend. Hex to Hex Jeff is maybe watching hockey. And who knows what Warmut's doing. Last I saw, he was getting set up to do some Fistful of Lead, I think. So maybe we'll get to play some of that this weekend again. If y'all got the chance to watch us on Sunday, we played Zombicide. That's the first time I had ever played Zombicide. It was good. I had a lot of fun. Didn't think we were going to make it. We did. So that's a bonus. I'm not going to go out and buy the game by any stretch of the imagination because I just don't like zombies enough. But I'll play it again. So let's see. We've got Reese here. It says, "Hey, y'all, gonna be late again tonight. See y'all tonight." Well, Reese, when you get here, you get here. Hope to see you then. We got Cindy Diaz says buenas noches. Buenas noches, Cindy. Glad you're here. And what else has been going on? I've been getting ready for Wiley Wargame Weekend. Wiley Wargame Weekend is this coming Saturday. It is Jay Wiley's birthday party for himself, where we get together and we play games for the day. I'm taking What a Tanker. So it's not always Wiley games that get played, but I will be taking What a Tanker. So we'll see how that goes. Should be fun. There's going to be some other stuff going. Steve is going to be running the Terror Island, Fistful of Lead Terror Island, which is going to be fun. And my buddy Joel will be there, and he's going to run War Master. So that's going to be good. I think he's got, all the different factions. Well, a lot of different factions, at least. Definitely orcs, undead, humans, elves, dwarves. We'll see what he's got going for us. So that should be fun. And I think there's a couple other games. I think we're going to have a reloaded game. So yeah, it'll be good. What else has been happening? That's really about it. I've been getting some more painting done. Here is HMS Renown. It's not exactly the paint scheme she had at the time, but it gets close. It looks the part. Also got, of course, I got Rodney. Rodney's finished. Again, not exact, but close. Also, I believe this is it's like Bermuda or Jamaica. I think this might be Jamaica. And then I believe this is another one. I can't remember which one this one is. And I'm working on, and I got the Dido, a Dido class. So let's see. Hissy Cat's in the house. Hey, Hissy, how you doing, buddy? Glad you can make it. You want Point Blank? Well, it's available now, and we're going to be looking through it. I've briefly gone through the rules. I don't know everything, so we'll have to see. Chuck's in the house. Howdy, Chuck. Glad you're here. Hissy says, "Hey, Charles." So we got San Diego covered. No, and Cindy is going to leave us tonight. Good night, Cindy. Adios. And Hissy says, "Night, Cindy." So there you go. Well, let's go ahead and dig into point blank views for victory. So good, solid. It's their standard 3-inch box. Yeah, it's standard 3-inch box. Pretty well made. You can see the walls are nice. Hey, Steve, how you doing, buddy? Glad you're here watching tonight. Can't wait for Terror Island this weekend, as I was telling the folks. Got Terror Island on queue. We've got What a Tanker on queue. Some, I believe, like I said, we got some Fistful of Lead Reloaded, I think, and we've got some more Masters. So fingers crossed. So yeah, box for Point Blank V is for victory. It's really quite nice. The tokens are, of course, already rounded. So no clipping needs to be done. Just like, just pop it out and it's already rounded for you. So that's nice. That's good. I'll pop it back in until I can get it actually punched and bagged. It's got 2 cards of tokens. I don't know what all they do. Obviously, we've got some status markers. We got fatigue and moving and sector move, flank A, flank B in red and green, weapon broken, covered arc. So yeah, we got those tokens going, and then we've also got just numbered tokens, and also these are the different actions. When you flip them over, they're 2-sided, of course, and those actions become hero counters. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on with those. Set those aside, out of the way. We'll slide them over here, and then it's got 2 map sheets. Got this one like this. Each one of these rectangles is what's considered a sector. And what I found interesting is when you're measuring for distance, going this direction is 1, going this direction is 2. So if I'm aiming going from here to here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm going from here to down here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If that makes sense. So it just, I don't know why they did it that way. They just decided to do it that way, and it's kind of cool. But they're colored differently. One is Allied, one is German. And why I say Allied is because there is American, British, Canadian, and French resistance. I can't do that real well, so I do it like this. So Canadian, American, British, Canadian, French resistance. So that's why I say Allied rather than American, because there's more than just the Americans there. Steve says fishing up while I watch. Well, glad I can give you some company while you're painting away. Chris Long in the house. Hello, how's it going? It's doing pretty good. And then it's awesome that they are rounded. Yeah, all of the lock and load stuff is already die cut, pre rounded. At least everything that I've got so far. My World at War 85, my Nations at War, and now this. I don't know about the armor game because I haven't opened it yet because I still want to switch it out with Jeffy. But yeah, we'll see. All right. So all in all, so far, everything is really good, high quality. Now there's a couple of different decks. One of them is a leader deck and equipment deck. So, for instance, we've got a leader here. We've got Lieutenant Anders. He's German. He has a move of 6, and he gives the blue is movement. I figured out. The green is his add-on, how he modifies what's going on. E4 Airmen. I'll show the ships here back again in just a second to show you what I got going with them. Anyway, and then he can either exert a control influence to an objective, or he can do a ready move. He can, and what that does is he can either remove spent or reduce fatigue. Let's see. And I want to make sure that I was correct on the flag there. Oh, no, the flag on him is attempt to remove a shaken marker. So they're pretty powerful. And you got quite a few different and you got 2 different types of leaders. You've got a regular infantry leader and you've got an armor leader. You can tell he's armor leader because he says armor. So here you go. And it looks like you can do this action without spending him. This action you have to spend him, or tap him if you're an old Magic card game player. And there are quite a few leaders. Here are your different German leaders. So you've got quite a few. You got lieutenants and majors and sergeants. So quite a few. You also have equipment. So for instance, we've got a flamethrower here. And its icon creates blazes. This terrain blocks, attacks by these may cause a blaze. So there you go. And then it adds, just as the leader adds to whatever you're doing. The flamethrower, this is its actual strength. It has a strength of 4. Again, I'm not sure exactly how that is exerted. Do we add these up and that's the amount of force that goes, or what? I'm not sure yet. I haven't dug that far in, so I do apologize. But it also has this negate terrain defensive modifiers when attacking, out of fuel on a 5+ check after each attack. So there you go. You got a radio. You got a radio card. You got satchel charges. 1 use, then remove using melee attacks. Only roll for play's effect. So there's your satchel charge. You got an MG34 that you add. I'm not exactly quite sure what the superscript here 4 does. I know this is its basically it's firepower. I don't know what the 4 refers to. We'll have to see. Um, let's see some of the. It's got MG34, got an MG42, Panzerfaust 30. Now here's something to note on the Panzerfaust. So this is not just a crew weapon; it's an ordnance weapon, which means it's got variable based off distance. It's got its variable strength. So this is your close, your medium, your long. Well, it doesn't have long range on it. So it only has short and medium. And then this is your, I think that's your to hit number, and that is your penetration value, or vice versa. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't got through all of the rules, so I do apologize, guys. But I wanted to get this out and show y'all. So it looks like the first number is going to be your first number was probably going to be your penetration value. Your second number is going to be like your to hit value, because the Poopchin is pretty hefty there. You also have a med kit to be able to provide rally, and then you get your Americans. Here's what an American leader looks like. So you see the American star there, and then you also have, there are your British leaders with the crown. And then here's your Canadian leaders with the maple leaf. And then lastly, your French resistance leaders with the cross, the French cross there. So those are your special leaders and special weapons. And they are in this smaller deck size. Also, in that same size, you've got smoke and blaze markers to put on your table to modify your terrain. What this shows you is that blocks all line of sight. So if it was half clear, half darkened like that, that degrades line of sight. But when it's fully closed like that, it completely gone. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the unit cards. Now, unit cards are full-sized, the full-size poker cards. And here is what some of the American cards look like here. And so here's your movement. Here is your, I believe that is your HE, and this is your anti-armor. And then this is the armor values down here. And then this is your ordnance, again, short, medium, long. And then these are the different things it can do. This tells you that it's got a turret. This tells you that it is tracked. And this, instead of rally on these cards, it means it can exert a influence on an objective. And I'll show you here in just a second on objectives. You'll see what you have to have in position to be able to have it be under your control. So we got M36s, Got lots of M36s. We got M20s, as you can see here on the M20. It's got your speed, and it's got your HE. Notice it does not have it doesn't excuse me, it doesn't have an anti-armor value, so it doesn't have an ordnance value. And then it also has special abilities up here: small, fast, meaning it's harder to hit and fast. So what fast refers to is there is stacking limits. There, you can only have so many units within a sector. And what fast allows you to do is if you go into an overstack position, you have to spend it. It has to, not fatigued, but it has to be spent. So you have to make it ready next time. But what fast allows you to do is you get spent when you go into that sector, but you can move to the next sector without stopping. So that's what fast does. The M36 is also fast, but also open topped, and also has gyro, which apparently probably means you can fire when it's on the move. Some of the other cards we've got here. Oh, here's what a British British squad looks like. This is the parachute squad. It can exert 2 infantry points on a objective. Again, these are the little things it can do. So it can move. It can do a fire attack. It can cause smoke. It can do a question mark. It can conceal itself +3. It can do an assault, and it can do melee. So it can do all of those things as part of its action. And how you do actions, I'll show you here in just a second with other cards. You'll notice that they've also got half squads. Some half squads, like a full parachute squad, can exert 2 flags. A half parachute squad can only exert 1 flag because it's only half size. You'll notice that they can't do melee, they can't do assault, but they can do everything else. They conceal, but not as well. And whatever this refers to in combat, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure. So those are some of the unit cards there. Pretty cool. Let's see. How we deal with terrain. Real quickly, we got E4 Airman. Give a thumbs up, guys and gals. Yes, please give me a thumbs up on that. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I'm at 225 now. I've lost a couple, and that's okay. I don't get mad when I see that somebody has unsubscribed. I'm just not, what they're looking for in YouTube reverse. So fine by me. But we are still wanting that 300. I doubt we're going to hit that October number. But who knows? Something crazy could happen. We could hit 75 in the next, 20 or 19 days. So, Hizzy Cat says, "Hey, E4." Cindy Diaz, I guess, is still here. Good vibes, and Chill Cat, good vibes to you too. And E4 responds to, "Hey, Hizzy." So how they deal with terrain is, well, cards, of course. This is a wood building. It gives an additional defense factor of 3. And that may be what I'm not sure. That may be what this number is up here. I know this here is their attack value. So this is probably their defense value. And the circle means they can fire 360 degrees. If it were a triangle, it means they can only fire in their covered sector. So, and this just adds to that defense value. It completely blocks line of sight. Woods does the same thing with an added value of 2. Good Lord, I'm dropping cards. Okay. If you go through woods, if you go into woods with a vehicle, you have to do a bog check. But if you're doing woods road, you don't have to do a bog check for obvious reasons. Now here's something of note. So when a vehicle blows up, it becomes a wreck, and it provides one additional, if you're hanging around it, it provides you one additional defense, and it only degrades your line of sight. It does not block line of sight. However, if the wreck happens on the woods road, the more restrictive line of sight modifier is what takes place. So if you're in the open and you have a wreck, the wreck takes precedence. If you're in the woods with a wreck, the woods takes precedence, because the more restrictive line of sight modifier is what takes you, what gives. There's a gully. Gives you 3, but it's a -2 to all your morale checks. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I just know that it does. And it does not affect line of sight at all, for obvious reason. You've got low crops with no morale modifier. You've got hedges. And you got wheat fields. Obviously, wheat fields are full top wheat that blocks complete line of sight. So then you've got your objectives. There's all kinds of different objectives. So here's a crossroads. And what you have to be able to control the crossroads, you have to exert 1 armor and 1 infantry. So you have to have at least. So if the Americans want to hold that unit, or not that unit, if the Americans want to hold that location, they have to have at least 1 infantry and 1 armor in place. So that's the minimum you have to have. Thank you. So that's that's pretty cool there. I think that's a really good way of dealing with that. What can and what cannot necessarily give you control. And there's other things that can give control, like an anti-tank gun team can exert control, or what was it? I think a 50 cal machine gun, 50 cal could exert control and infantry control. But An 81 millimeter cannot. So I think that's interesting. And the different objectives that they have, like I said, are crossroads, hotel, a bridge, rail stations, railroads, town squares. This isn't an objective, but it's the river units cannot enter that area. They can't enter that sector. Artillery positions, water towers, bunkers, and farmhouse. So quite a few different objectives. So how things are done, how you get your troops to move is, or your troops to do things, is the action cards. And these are your action cards. And the action card tells you what action you can take. So in this instance, if you play this card, you can do an assault action. So this card can activate this unit to do a action, the assault action. The dice here, the die number here, hold on. The die number here is, I guess, and I haven't fully grasped this one. I've got 2 dice, but I was reading where if you have to roll, you draw. You start off the game by drawing, each player drawing 5 cards for their hand. Of course, you shuffle these up, and you've got 6 of the same card. At least 6 of each of the same card, 1 through 6. As you see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Anyway, and what this does is, I guess when you're supposed to roll, you're supposed to draw off of the deck and see what the roll is. I guess. I don't have a full grasp on it just yet. I'm still working through it. But that's why that's up there. It's in place of a dice roll. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, that's how you get things done. And there's your friction. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, you don't have a war game unless you've got some sort of friction, other than friction from your opponent. Being able to do everything all the time without having something be in your way is not overly realistic. So it's kind of like, that's why I like an easy way to put in friction into a miniatures game is variable movement. Easiest way. If I want to go take my unit from here, move it to here, I hope I roll high enough. Because if I don't, I'm not going to get there. And then I'm left out in the open. Of course, you always have the option of not moving it at all. If you don't get a high enough movement. And at first I thought, well, that seems kind of ridiculous. That's I know how far I need to move as a little dude. But keep it in mind, in most situations, in games where this is applied well, you're not the individual guy or even the team. you're commanding the team, or you're commanding a squad, or you're commanding a platoon. So the leader is looking at a map. That map says it's 50 yards. Well, I know a guy in full gear should be able to move 50 yards without a problem. But in reality, I'm seeing on the map, and what Private Snuffy is seeing could be two completely different things. I'm thinking, hey, it's just 50 yards. How bad it can be? Well, that's 50 yards slogging through mud, ankle deep mud. It's going to take a little bit longer to do that. And the best way as an example for that is when my brother got back from Afghanistan, he talked about how they would see these fields on the map, and they would just look like open fields. Well, those fields were broken up like every 100 meters or so by these big rises, big revetments that they had to drive over. So yeah, I could do, normally a crossroad I can do maybe in a Humvee fully loaded, maybe 20 kilometers an hour, 30 kilometers an hour if I want to beat myself to death. Well, it's all well and good, but when every 100, 150 yards you're having to go up and over a 6-8 foot embankment, that slows you down. So, my commander says, oh yeah, I need you to be 10 kilometers from here to here, and I need you to be there in an hour and a half. That should give you plenty of time. If it was a flat, open field, yeah, not a problem. I can go 10 kilometers in an hour and a half, no problem, cross country. Every 150 meters, I have to do an embankment crossing. That's going to slow me down. So, I like that. I like that as a way of causing friction just right off the bat. It's a good way to get friction into your game without having a whole lot of issues. So this, being the way that you figure out what actions you can take. I like that. It's kind of like in Command and Colors. I've got cards that say, okay, I can either do, 4 up the middle or 2 to each side, or, if I don't have any card or I don't have a sector card that allows me to do something, I can always play it. Then yeah, that's going to be a way of handling, not being able to do anything. I can at least get one unit moved. So, and that's how you do friction in Commands and Colors, and I like that. There are some people that don't. A former host of shows similar to this one hated Commands and Colors, so because of that, and I like it. I like it. Some of the other things that you get, of course, are just a plethora of player aids. You got bog and stacking and buttons. So here's your stacking limits. A full squad of infantry. This is your stacking availability. So if I've got 3 full squads, I can only fit 1 transport, 3 squads and 1 transport. If I've got 1 infantry squad, I can have up to 2, plus a weapons team, plus 2 transports. Now, weapons and leaders don't count towards stacking. The OG is in the house. He gives a thumbs up. How you doing, Devin? I'm doing my best to get through the components of this game and give a brief idea of how it's played. I haven't gotten through all the rules just yet, so I'm kind of guessing on some of this stuff, but it's for the most part the basics are pretty clear. So, and then we got Cindy here saying hello for all good vibes. So, what are some of the things? Oh, here, entire card on how to fire. I was telling you about line of sight and well, I'm always around. Would you like to? I can send you a link if you want to hop on. We can talk about it. Let me know if you'd like a link. So you can see here talking about line of sight and how going from diagonally is different. You also have got just miscellaneous tables on like flamethrowers and radios and how all that works. And there's also solo flowcharts. So if you wanted to play solo, you've got that ability as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me get Devin the link here real quick, and we'll get him on here. Let me find you, Devin. All right. So I just zipped that off to Devin. He should be hopping on shortly. There he is.
Oh my God! What the hell's up? What am I doing here? Jeez. I haven't shaved in a couple days. I'm in a sleep shirt. I'm not looking good. What the hell?
Whatever. Looking great, dude. You're looking great. Thank you for joining me. So first off, the quality of the product, as always, amazing. It's great product.
Did
great quality.
Did you hurt yourself picking the box up?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I hurt myself every time I pick up that box. Yeah, no doubt about that.
It is hernia inducing. So
it's like 9.75 pounds or something obscenely silly like that.
It's almost heavier. I shouldn't say it. It's heavier than half the weight of my M16 from basic training. So, and I mean, a lot of the weight's right here in these two books.
I would say more the weight's in the cards than anything else.
Sure, but I mean, these are hefty manuals.
They are.
One is your core rules, and then one is your module rules. And as always, nice big font for us old guys. So yeah. Now, I noticed the core rules are just point blank.
Yep.
The module rules and scenarios are point blank V is for victory.
Yep.
That leads me to believe we're going to be looking at additional volumes.
I can neither confirm nor deny that John is working on more copies of or more expansions, or more cards, more nationalities. I can neither confirm nor deny.
That would be a yes, boys and girls.
That would be a wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. I mean, I know you cannot officially say, and I'm not even asking you to unofficially say, but as a consumer, as a gamer, I've got to know. I've got to say, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, there's going to be more coming. There
Well,
just has to be.
I will have to say is that we have been pleasantly surprised with how the game has been received. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, there's been a lot of videos, and by a lot, I mean for a niche community, 5 or 6, but still, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's a good number.
Who have come out and said this is the upfront killer. I have a hard time believing that because I'm a huge upfront fan. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Point Blank, but I love upfront.
Sure.
But I can see how it could be taken that way because, well, upfront, we're never going to see another expansion for upfront. We'll be lucky if we ever see another edition of it ever. So this is in the here, this is in the now, this is something that people can get into right away. So yeah, I can see how this game at this moment could be much more popular than upfront. So, and because of we did okay in sales. I mean, we made money on the project. Honestly, at the end of the day, that's really all we wanted to do.
Sure.
We just like make lots of money, but whatever. The response from the fans and our customers on how much they appreciate, and are enjoying this game. Yeah, there's going to be more.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be. I mean, just the mere fact that I know this gentleman here is all about Marines and island hopping. I have no doubt in my mind that he is not the only one out there that would like to see a Pacific.
We're kind of working on where we're not really sure how we're going to expand it. There's been talk of just doing nationality packs and scenario packs, like maybe just, all right, here's the polls. Maybe you just buy a deck of cards, it's got the polls in it. We give you a book, it's got some scenarios in it. Hey, look, you want the Belgians? Here's the Belgians. We can do a Belgium pack like that,
right?
And that's easy to do for the minor nationalities. But yeah, it's Eastern Front, the Pacific,
Yeah, I see a big box Eastern Front. I see a big box Pacific.
Oh yeah,
but like you said, the Belgians or the Hungarians or
French early war,
Yeah, I mean the Italians.
Exactly. North Africa, so
yeah.
I mean, we've got a good enough base with the units for all the German units late war, American units late war, British units late war. That we can it is very expandable. Let's put it that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And the nice thing is you don't have to go. I mean, the reason you would go with big box East Front and big box Pacific is because the terrain is
stuff all the cards in there.
What's that?
You want to stuff all the cards in there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not only is there different types of terrain, but even similar terrain is going to look different.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So the visual effect is what you're going to want.
And I think that's one of the things that irritated a lot of people back when Bonsai was released for Upfront, is that this was the Pacific expansion. It really didn't add in. I mean, it's like, all right, treat brush as kunai, and I mean, yeah, okay, you can visualize it in your head, but we didn't really have cards. Exactly. You want the physical.
If I'm spending the money, I want to see artwork.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Hissy Cat says Big Box World War One.
And it's possible. North Africa, yeah. An Italian campaign. That's always possible. I mean, like I said,
it's there. So this is the deal, guys. If you want all of these things, we got to buy all these things. Trust me when I tell you that David won't do anything if ain't nothing getting bought.
There is truth to that. So, and I'm not going to say that we aren't working on a point blank digital version. I can't say that we're not working on that. So,
right, but
nudge,
yeah,
nudge, wink, wink.
it looks good. One of the things that I like about the boxes is you got the good looking art there, and you got the good looking art, or the gives you credits on this side, but
special thanks and all that stuff.
You also got the ads.
Yeah, we got to get the ads on the inside of the box. We've been doing that forever. So
yeah, and of course
I don't know who that guy is. I don't know. That's he looks awful fishy. Let's just put it that way.
I know. So yes, U4 Airmen. It is their standard 3-inch box, and it's
actually thicker than it's slightly thicker than what we did with World at War and what we've done with Lock and Load Tactical. We needed the thicker box because of the weight of it, and our printer in China just did a phenomenal job in setting up the box. Have you showed off the card insert?
No, not yet. This is that's everything. No, that's not even everything. Hold on. All right. That's everything. It literally is to the brim. So yeah.
Well, the good thing is the counters. You'll get a little bit of space back when you punch out the counters,
right,
and stick those in Ziplocs or whatever form you have for your counters. Maybe if you use the planos, whatever you use.
Yeah. So. But yeah, it comes. I love this.
The card insert. We didn't even think of that. That was the printer in China that actually, when they shot us the promo copies, the first promo copies back at the beginning of the year, we didn't even ask for it. They just did it on their own and stuck it in there, and we realized, wow, this looks really cool. Yes, go ahead and do that for full print run. It looks
professional. It looks like somebody knows what the hell they're doing.
Like I said, it was our printer. It wasn't us. We weren't smart enough to come up with that on our own. So.
Right. So I'm going to on the assumption that you've played this. You've played the game a bit.
I've there's about 5 of the scenarios in the book that are mine. So yeah, I might have played once or twice.
Okay. So explain to me. I was reading through it, and how I've got these, but I also have these.
Well, basically, it's primarily designed to be a diceless system, and those dice basically is your timer for how long a turn is, kind of like on the original up front. It's just you went through the deck and that was a turn, and I think at most you had 3 turns in most upfront games. The dice are the timers, so every time you need to make a dice roll, you just flip a card, and that is your timer. You go through a deck, that's 1 turn. So if you want to use dice, and I hate using dice because dice always betray me. I actually prefer drawing cards or drawing chits for that, just because it seems to be more even to me. If you want to use the dice, you can, but for every dice you roll, you got to make sure that you discard one of the cards from the action deck, because like I said, that's your timer. And if you roll the dice without discarding the cards,
game will go on forever.
The game will drag on forever. So we know there are people who like to roll dice. We know people who like to draw cards. So we're just giving you both options. There's nothing. So dice are pennies each. We're going to throw dice in there, even if it's a diceless system. So.
Right. So, okay, let's take a look at one of these cards. Okay. So I know that this means it's an ordnance weapon.
Correct.
That I've got short, medium, and long.
Which doesn't make it. I have to wrap my head around it every time, because red's supposed to be bad, which is farther away.
The color choices was not optimal.
Right.
So the short range, that's 1 to 2 spaces.
Yep. 3 to 4.
3 to 4, 5
plus.
plus.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, that's your armor value for your vehicles.
Yep.
Now, these numbers here, is this your penetration value?
First number, the black number is your to hit value, your base to hit
Okay.
value. The second number is your penetration value.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me find, where was it? All right. So looking at the Poopchin.
I love the Poopchin. Nobody really knows about the Poopchin. Yes, it's a base
how do I get a 10? Is it below that number?
All ordnance is 2d6 under the to hit number. So
okay,
basically, go ahead.
So when I fire the Poopchin, I would need to draw
two cards. Add them together.
Okay.
Yep, you are correct. And then whatever lower. Right. It's plus you also got to remember there's modifiers if the target's under a move card.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
If there's obscuring, whatever. There's always modifiers that you're going to be dealing with.
No, and I get that, but okay, it's making sense.
It takes, if you're familiar with the lock and load tactical ordnance system, then it's real easy to slip into. It's not similar. It's almost identical, actually.
So be it.
Yes.
Okay, this is my move value.
No. That's your morale value. Blue number is the morale. Yep.
Okay. See, I was going for blue circle like it's an amphibious from World at War.
From World at War, right?
Now this is my to shoot number.
Now that's your machine gun value. The machine gun value,
or HE value.
HE value. That is the range, and the 5 is the actual firepower. So the machine guns can fire out to 4 areas or 4 sectors with a firepower value of 4, which basically means it's got the coax, the hull, and the the coax and the hull machine gun.
This is that's the attack value, and that's the range, or that's the range and the attack value.
Range and oh boy, let me see an infantry card real quick. It has been a couple months since I've played. Okay, so the red the red is the firepower value.
Okay.
The number in the upper right hand is the range. So with that would be the machine guns have a firepower value of 4 that can reach out to 5 spaces.
Okay. So does that mean I am what's my to hit? Is that based off of so target?
Now the high explosive runs like how the infantry firepower goes. Okay, so you got to remember in lock and load tactical and point blank, you've got ordnance fire and you've got high explosive, small arms, rifle, machine gun fire, what have you. So the 1 is what you take, and then you roll a d6, modify it by any numbers, compare that to the defensive value of the unit you're shooting at, d6, any modifier values. If the attacker rolls higher, then good things or bad things will happen to the target. If the defender rolls higher, then nothing happens to the target.
Okay, so it's an opposed roll.
It's an opposed roll. Yeah, it's kind of like a miniature system where you're rolling opposed dice for the attacker and defender, and comparing the values.
I like opposed rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, so infantry here, just a second line
German squad.
Morale 4.
Correct.
You're going to roll a die and add 1 going out to range out to 3. Okay.
Correct.
Now he is obviously going to modify that.
Yep.
With the 2.
Correct. So basically, if you have Lieutenant Kuntz and say he was with that's an armor leader, so that's kind of a bad example. Just throw a tank out there with it. All right, so the Martyr, good vehicle. I like the Martyrs. So basically, his leadership value, which is the aqua-colored circle, can be added to, of course, the martyr doesn't have a machine gun, but it does have the ordnance. You would modify your dice roll for the ordnance by the leader's value. So the martyr right there needs a 9 or less on 2d6 to hit. If Lieutenant Kuntz is with him, it's now an 11 or less because his leadership modifier is a 2. Now,
Wow.
Yes, a 2 is very, very powerful. So go ahead and go bring an infantry card out, and let's pretend Lieutenant Kuntz was an infantry leader.
I've got Lieutenant Anders.
That'll work. So he's got a value of 1. The second line squad has an HE value of 1. The leader will add another +1 to it. So that HE value is going to be a 2 when he fires at somebody. So it'll be a 2 plus a D6 modified by whatever modifiers there are. And then compare that to the defender, D6 plus whatever modifiers there are.
Right. Now, where is your defense value?
Most of the time, the defense
based
value,
off of where you are?
Off of your terrain, exactly. That is probably 80% of your defensive modifiers are just going to come from whatever terrain you're sitting in. So if you've got a terrain card handy, so we can take a look at a terrain card. I know, so many cards to go through. There you go. So wood building, that number right there, 3, that the defender will roll a d6 plus a 3, and that will be his value. The other 20% of the defender dice rolls are going to come if you're shooting through obscuring terrain, or if the target is moving, because that will modify the to hit roll as well. So, but most of the time.
So the other thing I know that, okay. So I would add these two numbers together, yes?
If both of them were in the same space.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And if this was by itself in an open field, it's obscuring or
it's
degrading.
Degrading, right.
However, if it's here, you always go with the most restrictive line of sight modifier.
Now, for people who may not understand what he's talking about, go ahead and show both of those cards again. Each terrain card has kind of it's our eyelid. You've either got the lazy eyelid, which the wreck has, which is kind of open, it's kind of closed. That's degrading terrain. You can see through one space worth of degrading terrain. The blocking terrain, the closed eyelid, which is on the wooden building, you can't see through that space at all, unless you're on a hill. But that's about the only exception.
That's other things.
Right. That determines how line of sight kind of works in the game, be it the degrading or obscuring. I like it. It's one of those things that is one of the things I don't like about miniatures games that I do like about board games is that true line of sight.
Well, besides that, it's right there. It tells you what's going on. There's no guesswork. No. It is
50% of the miniature stand behind the terrain, then it's blocking. And
no. All right. I also know that when looking at objectives, the objectives, here's a perfect example. I have to have at least one infantry style unit that will exert at least one flag and one armor / vehicle
ordnance. I mean, it's ordnance.
Yeah.
Bazookas can work for the black flags. Panzerfaust can work for the black flags. There are a multitude of different things that give the white and
black.
Now,
what I find interesting is a 50 caliber will exert infantry control, but mortars don't. Mortars don't exert anything.
Well, the thing about mortars is they're an indirect weapon, and they usually require a minimum range before you can shoot with them. So even
but again, that's the thought process went into, if they're holding an objective, they're not strong enough by themselves with their weapon to hold that objective with somebody comes rushing them.
Especially if you get inside the weapon's minimum range.
Right, exactly.
It's like, now we're shooting with our rifles because our mortars can't depress low enough to shoot close enough.
So I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think I'm going to enjoy this little game. This is not the only World War II game I've received recently. and I like the other one I got also. I picked up Heroes of Normandy.
Normandy.
This one here
with the French spelling.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Lock and Load's Heroes of Normandy.
Heroes of Normandy. Ours came first. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. But I played the Cthulhu version of this.
Yeah.
My brother has it. Enjoyed it immensely. So I'm going to enjoy this. We've also played, is it Undaunted? Another card.
That's another card driven.
Enjoyed it, but I think I'm going to enjoy this one also. They all have, well, not Heroes of Normandy, but Undaunted and this and another one you were talking about. They have the same feel, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
And so I can enjoy both and have fun with both.
Well, it really shows that, people say, well, card games are all the same. No, they're kind of not. I mean, we've got 3 games that you just mentioned that are card games, but they're totally divergent from each other and how the mechanics work and how the games play out. So
exactly. So,
and there's nothing wrong with one above the other. It's what you enjoy. It's what your taste is. Yeah. I mean, I don't like Heroes of Normandy. I enjoy Point Blank. Undaunted has nothing for me. I love Upfront. Combat Commander, which is basically a card game, the Hex Encounter card game that GMT put out. I can't stand that game. But there are people out there who love it, which is fine. I mean, everybody has their own taste. If we all had the same taste, we'd be communists and it would suck. So.
Yeah. So I was looking at the scenarios and it says 2 turns.
Yep.
That's twice through that.
Twice through the action deck. You are correct.
Okay.
And when you're starting to shoot and do a lot of melee, that deck goes really quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, because you're rolling.
Yeah,
the dice.
Well, it's whenever you do a shot, if just a normal infantry shot, you're pulling at least 2 cards, and then for every target that's affected by something, you're pulling another card. For every time you rally, every unit you want to rally, you're pulling 2 cards. For every ordnance weapon you want to fire, you're pulling 2 cards. So yeah, there are times in the game where there's like this lull where you're just kind of maneuvering into position. But once you start shooting, those cards just start to disappear. And it's like, oh, I don't have as much time as I thought.
And actually, I showed too many cards.
Yeah, it looked a little bit thick because the action deck
that's your actual action.
Yeah, deck. the action deck is
about 104.
About 104. Yeah, whatever multiple of 6 it is. Yeah.
Maybe a little more than 104.
Yeah, it's around there.
Now, am I correct that? Okay, so I'm going to have 5 of these cards in my hand, right?
Yep.
And now these haven't been shuffled, so they're all going to have the same icon on them.
Right.
But when I play said card, that is the action that I'm going to take.
Correct.
Okay. And this is where I don't know if you were listening when I talked about it, but this is the friction. Other than friction against my opponent, this is the friction that makes it a war game.
Yep.
If I don't have a card that has that icon on it, I can't do that thing.
Well, it depends. You can use a card to do that action. If you want to do something that you don't have a card for, so like say if you want to move a unit and you don't have a move card in your hand, you can still discard any card in your hand to do that action as long as the action you want to do is on the unit card. So virtually every unit in the game has a move action on it. So if you don't have any move cards in your hand and you want to do a move action, you can discard a rally card and you can still do a move action as long as it's on the card you want to do. But you have to. I got to be careful with this, or magical Swiss. You have to tap them. You spin them, you tap them. You have to spin them after the action. And one of the reasons that was put in, and anybody who's ever played Upfront will realize with Upfront, you can only do actions that you've got the cards for. And there's a lot of times I've been playing that game, and it's like, and every turn I'll dump my entire hand because I don't have any of the cards that I want to do. This at least allows us to get around that, so you're not having to dump your entire hand. That if you want to move and don't have a mood card, you can still move. You're going to pay a little bit of a penalty for it in game by the units,
because you have to make them ready.
Unspin, untap them, in the next turn.
So something else I was noticing, and so like these two, I got Lieutenant Anders and Lieutenant Kuntz.
Leaders are your wild cards,
right? But I noticed that they've got the two same actions, but they're reversed. Does this mean if I do this action with him, I have to spend him, and I don't?
Yes. Anytime you do a leader action, whatever leader action it is, and all leaders have at least 2 leader actions on them, you have to spend them to be able to activate their ability on the card. So basically, you may have 2 icons on there. You're just going to be doing one of them because it says right there, rally or whatever helmet.
Okay. So there is, whether I'm doing this action or this action, doesn't matter. I'm spending him, correct?
He gets spent, correct.
Okay, and it just happens that whenever these 2 cards were designed, it was decided.
That was whatever Blackwell and Sean and who was I guess the artist actually didn't have much. Sure. Okay. I couldn't tell you why those are reversed. Because you would think, they're both the same symbol. It at the end of the day, it doesn't mean
it doesn't matter because
it's either or. One of those actions.
To do one or the other doesn't matter where they're located. You're going to spend him.
Yes, and you can only use the leader action to do that action in the sector they're in. So it's like if you've got a rally action on a leader, you can only rally inside your own space. Now the good thing is, any unit can rally if you play a rally card on them. It's just if you don't have a rally card, you got a leader there. Well, let's go ahead and use the leader card to rally everything that's in the space. Rally card lets you rally, up to 3 units anywhere on the board with some dice rolls and some other stuff. But it's leaders are limited to whatever is in the same sector they're in. So because I need to step away. Yeah, they are attached. I need to step away real quick. I will be right back.
No worries. Do you guys out there, there's 9 of you watching, do any of y'all have any questions for me or for Devin? Definitely want to, answer any and all questions you have about this. If you don't have any questions about this, you got questions about other lock and load stuff. I mean, we got an official representative of the company here. So, mark them out. I know I'm going to be hitting him pretty hard here real quick on some questions about World at War. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm liking the idea here.
What? World at War? Never heard of it.
Yeah. Hissy Cat says, no questions. Just can't wait to get a copy. I think I'll be loving this game. You know what? I'm right there with you, Hissy. So it's what is the retail price on this sucker?
I don't even remember off the top of my. I can find out real quick.
Yeah, I'm LNL Publishing.
Because I tend not to deal with retail numbers. I deal with, production numbers. And
right now it's $119.99.
Yeah.
It's $10 off if you buy now.
Yep. And honestly, if you're going to think about get it, I'd get it quick. We did not order a lot of copies. I mean, we ordered less than 5,000 to go along with fulfilling the game found or the Kickstarter. We just don't have. There's not a lot of copies out there. Get it now before it disappears.
Yeah, yeah. So, I did reach out to David and thank him for my copy. If you next time you talk to him, tell him.
Oh,
hey,
I talk to him multiple times a day. So.
Yeah. let him know it's appreciated.
Yep. It's we work in a virtual office, so it's like we were, just down the hall
Right
from
next
each
to it.
other. So
Outstanding.
be it on the phone or on the computer or what have you.
So my next question, and we'll talk more about this in a second, but the real
The real serious questions.
where are we with Blood and Fury?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've
are
never
we on the
heard
boat
of
yet?
that. Is that
Are we on the boat yet?
What? No, it's you're not gonna like the answer.
Hey, and if it's
we were about 95% done with the manuals and the art and the layout and everything when we finished the game found, because one of the things that we as consumers of Kickstarter and game found hate is like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna give you money for this game, but I'm not going to see it for 4 years because you haven't finished designing it yet. We like to have virtually everything done before we put anything to Kickstarter and GameFound. We were about 95% done when the Kickstarter was finished. We're only about 98% done now. The biggest thing is Keith had to go through and redo a lot of the unit nationality tables and how they were laid out. So that is the one thing that's kind of holding things up. We're not sure we're going to get the copies by Christmas, January or February. I'm going to say, but so unless of course everything, the entire world blows up over there and we go to war and the cargo ship carrying our stuff catches a sea skimmer missile and goes to the bottom. We're hoping that doesn't.
No Lusitanias. Okay, that's no, and I. To give you an idea of the patience I have, I don't know if you know anything about this one.
I don't think so. Oh, that's the one with the chibi miniatures, right?
Right.
Really big-headed miniatures. Yeah.
It is. It's actually copyrighted 2019. So I don't have a problem waiting. I know you guys are not fly by night. You're not going to grab my money.
We're just fly by the seat of our pants. So
Hey, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it because the quality of the product you put out, and what I mean by you, I mean
the company. Yes, I believe me, I understand.
It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Everything that I've gotten from you guys is top notch. Is some of the best quality I've seen. Just the mere fact that you start with
pre-rounded
corners. Pre-rounded counters is right there, head and shoulders above just about anybody else. Now, I do understand that it has a lot to do with the number of counters that you're working with in comparison to some of these other games. That you're able to do that.
Yeah,
I can assure you, World of War 85 Storming the Gap has a crap ton of counters, and they're all pre-rounded. So
yeah, it's we kind of pay the price with doing the larger rounded counters, and we accept that because one of our counter sheets, one of our World of War counter sheets, you're looking at about 80 counters on it. A similar sheet that you get from like GMT will have 200 plus counters on it. So
But they're smaller.
yeah, they're much smaller and they're much
And,
thinner,
yeah.
and you got to clip them yourselves. So
Mhm.
we don't mind that we have less counters in our games. And honestly, it's like World at War had what, like 10 counter sheets in it. I mean, so
So-
we'll
well, yeah.
we'll stuff a bunch of counter sheets in to make up for it.
Yeah. It'll be fine. It's I am, but I'll get this onto the table here pretty soon. But the one I'm definitely wanting to get onto the table soon is this guy right here. Definitely want to get that one going. Of course, I need to get a punch.
Coming.
What's that?
Digital for Nations of War is coming. We do have a digital Nations of War out there, but it's just, I think, White Star Rising, and it's not the full complete series. The actual programming team that was originally working on it kind of bailed on us in the middle of the project and said, "Nah, we're not going to finish this. We don't think we're going to make a lot of money out of it. It basically is like, we got a better offer, so we're going to screw you guys and we're going to jump to this better offer." But we did find another programming team to pick up, and he's been working on it furiously. Hopefully both the Nations at War and World at War digital by Christmas time. I mean, that's the pace that it's coming along at right now. So.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good. I like that. Are they going to be similar to the Heroes of Tactical?
It's actually the same
go head to head.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. There would be no point in us doing it if we didn't have head-to-head features. Now, I know Lock and Load Tactical Digital has some issues with the multiplayer aspect of it. And honestly, if you do run into issues multiplayer, F3 to put in a bug report. Tom can't fix what he doesn't know is not there. So if you ever run into issues with digital, just hit the F3 button, send the report off. It automatically does it for you. It takes a screenshot of the scenario. It actually saves the scenario and it uploads the scenario to him via email, so he can actually go in and see exactly what was happening at the time of the bug. And he does what he can as quick as he can. So
sure.
And like I said, we kind of dumped a bunch of workload on him when we handed off Nations at War and World at War digital to him. So.
Well, the good thing is the two games are very similar.
Yes. I mean,
coding wise, it's not going to be too.
Yeah, once he gets all of Nation at War coded in, it's not going to take him very long to get digital coded in. So
yeah. Hissy Cat says, "I get paid on the 25th. Hold one for me."
You should be good to go. You should be good to go. E4 Airmen, 5.2 rules for Motherland. It should be up on our digital library, and let me see if I can get the link. Where is it?
Where is the digital library found?
Can be found. I thought I had a link for it. No, that's not it. I've got like 50,000 bookmarks linked, and so I can never find what I need exactly.
Online library.
Yeah, it's the online library.
Okay.
Because the online library is always updated with whatever the most current version of the rules
He is wanting. That's Here's a Bitter Harvest.
Here's a Motherland. So.
Well, why am I not seeing it?
I don't know. Where is it? Is it up here? Let's see. I thought I had it there. It's not there. All right. I know I could find it if I know how I can bring it up. link to it from digital.
There you go.
Because it's in digital. The links to all the PDFs are in digital.
So, okay. Here's one that I noticed on the box of Point Blank V is for Victory. And now I'm seeing it as a big splash banner. What are you able to tell me about JU-87
Stukas? Well,
what is it?
What would you like to know?
Well, first off, what is it, a solo game? Is it a a cooperative game? Is it a versus game?
It is a card-driven solitaire game where you take over the role of a Stuka pilot starting at the beginning of World War II and going through the entire I think it goes up to 44. I don't think we have anything that extends into 45. But depending on whatever Luftflottille, Sturmgewehr, either Sturmgewehr 1, 2, or 77, and you determine that randomly at the beginning, that will determine your path that you take throughout the war. You might spend more time. I think Sturmgewehr 2 spent more time in Russia. Sturmgewehr 1 was involved with Crete and North Africa. So it all depends and determines. And here, let me go ahead and give you the link to the most recent Heroes of the Motherland so you can post it, because I can't post in the chat.
Yeah, send it to me and I'll drop it in.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, basically, you start off. We have the Spanish Civil War in there if you want to start off with that. That's really kind of either Poland or the Spanish Civil War is your tutorial theater. So depending on how you want to start it off, you can either start off in the Spanish Civil War or the Poland 1939 campaign. And basically, you do a number of missions each theater. It's usually anywhere from 5 to 7 or 4 to 6, something like that. And each mission takes about 15-20 minutes to play out, and you fly out to the target. You have random events that you can find on the way out there. You have random events when you take off. You have random events when you can land. We've got I don't know, 36 different target cards that you go after. And that's more broken down by the theater. So like, if you're doing the Battle of Britain, you're not going to be going after Russian tanks. It just doesn't make any sense to do that.
Right.
So all the theaters have got their own certain cards associated with them. If you're fighting in the Med, obviously you're going to be going after more naval targets, troop convoys, regular convoys, British ships, such like that. And we have. What have we got? I think we have all 12 variants of the Stukas in there, including the Caesar, which they only built like 4 of because that was supposed to be the plane that was assigned to the Graf Zeppelin. And there might be a Kickstarter or a Game Found stretch goal that we will have that will include a hypothetical Graf Zeppelin campaign, so you can pretend to be flying off the deck of the Graf Zeppelin. So it's like I said, it's a solo game. Each flight or each mission that you do takes about 15-20 minutes. You work your way up through the ranks. You start off as the wingman to somebody else. And then as you get promoted, then you have your own wingman, and you basically command him, although most of what he does when you're bombing a target is kind of abstracted and automated. Then you eventually will get promoted to a wing commander, and then you have to start deciding what formations you're flying in and how far spread out you want to be, or how close and how tight you want to be, what altitude you're flying at. And again, most of their bombing runs are kind of abstracted and automated as well. And then eventually work your way up to flight leader. So you start off as a wingman, then you get command of a wingman, then you're in charge of 9 aircraft, and then I think 27 aircraft or something silly like that. You decide from what height you're going to drop your bombs. You've got a deck of cards that you can modify dice rolls with. So it's like, all right, I want to try to, okay, I'm going to go into a dive. So I need to make a bombing roll for that. Okay, here's the D6 roll, and again, this is all card driven. All the cards, all the random numbers are drawn from the cards. You can use dice if you want, and this one you don't have to discard, but you can if you want. It's like, all right, so I need a 4 to hit the target. I only rolled a 2. Okay, I look at my deck of hands. Oh, this will give me a +2 in a bombing run, so I'll play that. It's like, all right, now I went in for a low dive, so now I've got to try to pull up. That's a -1 on the dive roll. I rolled a 3 minus the 1 for the low dive. Oh, that's a 2. I need a 4 to successfully pull up, burn another card. Or you've got your own stamina that you can use. You can burn stamina to randomly draw a card to give you a dice boost or a dice benefit.
Sure.
And there's just decisions you have to make. It's like, all right, we're searching for the target. Okay, it takes us, say there's 4 chances of events for us flying out to the target. It's like, all right, you do your takeoff. You pull the card for that. Okay, we did the takeoff with no problem. Oh no, this one I'm -1 stamina for this mission, so I have to remove one of my stamina tokens. Flying to the mission. All right. Oh, we get some flak. We got to deal with the flak event. Oh, we run into enemy fighters. Where's our defensive fighters? You got to go through and figure that out. Oh, we could run into bad weather. We're now scattered, and the altitude is really bad, so we're going to have to approach the target from lower. There's a whole plethora. I love that word, plethora of events that you can run into on the way to target. Okay, once you get to the target, okay, now we got to look for it. Now we got to start flipping cards to see if we can actually find it. Okay, this is no event. Oh, we ran into some concentrated flak. We're going to have to deal with the flak event. Okay, we found the target. Now we can bomb it. What altitude are we going in at? How low are we going to drop the bombs? Okay, then we've got to pull up. There is decision making at every level as you in the pilot seat behind the stick making these decisions. And then, all right, okay, we bombed the target. Okay, we destroyed it. Great, we're on our way back. Now we got to see if we run into any events on the way back to the base. And when we get back to the base, we got to make a landing roll. Oh, I wrecked my plane. I'm not going to be able to participate in the next mission because my plane's wrecked out. And it's all set up that each theater you get better and better aircraft as the war progresses. We've got the version that's got the 37mm cannons on it. Like I said, there are 12 different variations of the Stuka that you can fly in this. There's the tropical version, which you're going to see being used in North Africa, and we think it's a really good narrative game. It's not like the GMT Flight Leader or any of their Zero Leader, whatever leader games they have. That's more where you have 4 to 6, where you've got an entire squadron, and you're just, all right, I'm going to move into this zone. I'm going to drop these bombs, and these are the modifiers, what have you. This one is, no, you're in control of one plane. You're behind the stick, and you're making these decisions. All right, the weather is cloudy. Do I want to go lower, run the risk of more flak that I'm going to have to run into it, or I want to keep high, but that's going to affect my dive bomb roll because I can't see the target as well. Very good narrative. First time I played, I was playing the Polish campaign. When I first started playing testing, it's like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and make a low dive. I'll release the bomb because that gives you a plus to hit because you're waiting longer to drop the bombs on target. And so, but the penalty is the penalty to your pull-up roll. And I didn't make my pull-up roll, which means I got targeted by Polish anti-aircraft and they shot me down. So I put warheads on foreheads, but I didn't make it out of there.
Right. Yeah. So if this sells well.
Oh, yes. I
can already see, and maybe not just Stukas, but my thought process, being the naval-minded guy that I am, I'm thinking
we're already talking about a Pacific expansion.
Midway.
Well.
Yeah. A Midway campaign. Yeah. And not just Stukas, but
torpedo bombers, level bombers. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, Guitardo has already started the planning process for that. So if JU-87 Stuka Ace does well enough, we will be seeing a dive bombing, torpedo level bombing game for the Pacific as well.
So I showed these off. We're going to take a quick break. I showed these off at the beginning of the show. I don't think E4 Airman was on site yet. So I want to go ahead and he was the winner of our 200 subscriber. So Here is HMS Renown. These are 1/6000th scale. To give you an idea that, there's my index finger. I think it's turning out pretty well. Here is the Rodney. And I know it's taken a long time to get them done, but I've been having to deal with a lot of stuff. This one here is the Jamaica, one of the Colony class cruisers. And then here is, where is it? Yeah, here's the Dido class.
6,000 scale is so tiny.
Oh, here's the Tribal class destroyer. I haven't got her painted up yet, but this is like
I don't know. Kind of looks painted to me.
So now the Italians are going to go a lot faster because they didn't have camo schemes on them, but they did have the candy stripes.
Yep.
And I will be putting candy stripes on. And I'm still waiting for the T-shirt, E4. So since I'm still waiting for the T-shirt, I want to get it all put together and send out to you all at the same time. So, but okay, I wanted to show you that we got it good.
I hate to do this, but I gotta jump out.
That's fine.
David actually wants me to jump into a conference call with him.
I'm actually gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, guys. Hour and 36. I think that's a good length of the show. We got a lot of information. Thanks for hopping on and talking about the game.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
I might do a playthrough, a solo playthrough, just kind of give people an idea. I don't know when I'll do it, but
give me a holler if you need if you have any questions. There are for the longest time. I mean, there were really only two people that knew the rules to the game. Sean, who designed it, obviously, and me, because I was helping him with the play testing and the scenario. So there was a time there were only two people that people could go for questions about the game, and it was Sean and I. So it's like I'm used to it. So.
All right. So yeah, when I get the chance and get everything read through, and I decide to put a game on, I'll give you a holler and see if you're available.
Well, I'm pretty much always available. So I work from home, so.
Must be nice. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Mostly no, but it is what it is. So.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Reese, E4, Hissy Cat, Chuck, I saw you up in there. Devin, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on. And excuse me. Until next time, we will see you on the flip side.